Well, it's interesting, that period in the fall of 2002, when you were speaking out even as you were pushing your film, but making this larger point. At that time, in 2002, at the end of it, Hillary Clinton stood up on the floor of the Senate with many other Democratic and Republican senators and voted to authorize the war in Iraq. Now, fast forward to 2015, and Democratic presidential candidates Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders have voiced support for President Obama's plan to keep U.S. troops in Afghanistan through the end of Obama's term in 2017. Obama had declared an official end to the U.S. combat mission in Afghanistan last year, but announced last month he's halting the phased military withdrawal. Speaking on CNN, Hillary Clinton backed Obama's decision.
I will not sit here today and say what I would do upon taking office because, again, we want to bring our troops home. We certainly don't want them engaged in on-the-ground combat. We want them to help support and train the Afghan army, and we want them to, continue to work with the government of Afghanistan to try to help strengthen security for them. So I can't predict where things will be in January of 2017, but I support the president's decision.
So there is Hillary Clinton today in 2015. As you watch this, Viggo Mortensen, your thoughts on the presidential campaign and on the new Clinton who is running for president?
Well, the new Clinton, which is not all that new, as far as ideas, when you talk about foreign policy, certainly. She's the likely Democratic nominee, and I don't expect that she nor any of the Republican candidates are going to talk in any detail or with any profundity about what happened in 2002, 2003. It's certainly they're not going to talk about Iraq. I mean, Trump has thrown a few firecrackers at Jeb Bush to try to get a rise out of him. The subject of what our government did and what we as citizens allowed to happen in 2003 and the consequences that we are living with now is not going to be a topic of conversation, really, I don't think, in the presidential campaign. I mean, I wish that Bernie Sanders would be president for many reasons. I think in many ways he speaks truth to power, but even in foreign policy, I mean, he's a person who, as a senator, has voted for every military appropriation, has voted for every, resolution, pro-Israel government resolution without question. In many ways, he's as hawkish as Hillary Clinton is. So, I don't have a problem with,
What would you say to him about Israel?
I would say that you have to treat Israel like everybody else. I don't like that Israel is basically an offshore military base for the United States, and its empire, basically. I've never liked that. There's certain, it's relative. You can see certain things and it bothers you and you get over it. I don't like that the Mets lost the World Series, but I'll get over it. I don't like that we invaded Iraq, and I'll never get over it. I don't like that people who knew better voted to give permission to the U.S. administration to do that. There's many things that are really serious.
You wrote a poem in Twilight of Empire, and when we come back, we'd like to also have you read that, as well as talk more about world politics. Yes, we're talking about the world-renowned actor, Viggo Mortensen, who also happens to be the editor, a publisher. He's the editor of Percival Press, which has just reissued its 2003 book, Twilight of Empires, Responses to Occupation.